Welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, September 20th, 2019. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. The National Accreditation Board will be advancing its work to monitor and clamp down on bogus institutions operating or seeking to operate in the country. So says Chairperson Dr. Rosalind Ambrose, who was at the time speaking at an event held this week as part of activities to mark the board's 10th anniversary. Dr. Ambrose said she is aware of the advances taking place in education here and globally, and the National Accreditation Board needs to safeguard Vincentians against bogus institutions, especially those operating online.
Forensic documentation evaluation for persons who come to the country, or for our candidates who apply for doing courses, particularly in the online industry, because we do know that there are many diploma mills in the world online, and so we would like to be able to protect our nationals from being exploited by bogus entities. And so we hope that in the very near future we can expand the unit and we can gain more in-depth capacity for dealing with assessment of.
Reflecting on the past 10 years, Dr. Ambrose noted the significant strides made to have institutions accredited and the credentials of persons verified.
That candidates who gain qualifications from institutions in St. Vincent Grenadines are in fact able to take this qualification and credentials to other places in the world. Equally so, the board and the accreditation unit is charged with the responsibility of ensuring that credentials that are presented either by locals or any other people coming to work and teach in the country are in fact appropriately qualified for those positions.
Standards must not just be met but also maintained, and the newly registered educational institution with the National Accreditation Board, the American University of St. Vincent, has been encouraged to maintain the highest level of quality education. The institution was registered today by the National Accreditation Board at a ceremony held at its campus site at New Montrose. Speaking at the ceremony, representative of the National Accreditation Board, Joy Browne, said much has changed over the last decade, increasing the demand for higher education, the cost and the amount of institutions available. Browne encouraged these institutions to seek out growth grounded in quality assurance and excellence.
And that the standards of this university are going to be always on the improve. And this is what we're happy about, because the ultimate goal is accreditation. And we can only get there when we experience the classroom modalities. So, as this university, the American University, leaves its footprints on the landscape of higher education here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we, the board, and the public of this country, as well as the targeted clientele, must see evidence of upward spiraling of growth and development that is anchored in quality assurance and excellence.
Dean of Clinical Affairs at the American University of St. Vincent, Dr. Wissam Al-Hafid, said the institution is committed to provide high-quality education and seek out students who are able to focus on the compassion and humanitarian aspects of their profession. Dr. Hafid gave the assurance that the institution will meet and exceed the expectations of its students and the National Accreditation Board.
That something more that is the hallmark character of our university students. Today, as we record this milestone, we promise the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the National Board of Accreditation, and our students that we will continue to further raise the standard of education at this institute and to continue to develop the university's potentials at all levels to match the best schools in the region. As we are grateful for your support and honored with the high confidence that this board has given us. And we promise everyone that we will come up to and even exceed your expectations.
Minister of Health, Wellness and the Environment, Browne, congratulated the institution for its accomplishment of being accredited by the National Accreditation Board.
Could pick up anything from the commitment which was just given. You would recognize that not only is it concerned about sustaining the status quo, there is an expansive vision for the future. As the Minister of Health, I'm happy to hear about the plans, for instance, for the coming on stream of a program in nursing. And when we expand in this manner, I think that this school is going to develop a full profile that allows it to take up a prominent place among universities in this region and throughout the world. I want to commend you for the progress that you have made so far. I want to congratulate you on this particular step that you are taking. And I know that we are not here to then enter a mold or a state of complacency, but to continue to make sure that the American University of St. Vincent goes from strength to strength and the students have an excellent education.
In other news, local historian Dr. Adrian Fraser last evening launched his new book, which provides readers with a better understanding of SVG's early struggles for independence and lone national hero Joseph Chatouillet. Larissa Pugsley-Kidd tells us more about the book and the launching ceremony held last evening at the French's house.
Villain to national hero, Chatouillet and the early struggle for independence of St. Vincent, Europe. This is the new book written by historian Dr. Adrian Fraser. Dr. Fraser collaborated with the University of the West Indies SVG Open Campus to have the book published. At the launching ceremony on Thursday evening at the French's house, Dr. Fraser told the gathering that SVG's history was told differently from colonial historians and does not truly represent what happened back then.
Look in the book at the way the colonial texts have depicted and described Chatouillet. He was ruthless, bloodthirsty, sanguinary, desperate, and accustomed to warfare and bloodshed. Cruelty rather than courage had been his trademark. The question is, how did a man so described become our national hero? And this, of course, has to do with the whole colonial system and our move away from that colonial system.
Dr. Fraser said his book sought to explain the struggles of Joseph Chatouillet from villain to national hero and the early stages of SVG's independence.
The book is really, and Dr. Denny and some of the others mentioned this, it's really a debate with the British commentators on their struggle with the indigenous people and a confrontation with the historiography that is the writings of that particular period. So that's one aspect of it, because there are a lot of things which were written which I question. And then the transformation from villain to national hero and the process that this involved, a process which came out of, which led to decolonization and eventually to independence.
Minister of Education St. Clair Jimmy Prince welcomed the new book, noting that it has been observed that the interest in history among students has declined and his ministry is looking to have this reversed.
Appreciate the importance of this subject to national development and to our collective psyche. And I am afraid to say that I don't think that enough of them have decided that this is important enough for them to pay attention to. So there is, while there's a paucity of information with respect to our own history, there is a neglect on the part of the teachers to embrace this, and therefore students suffer. We will continue from the Ministry of Education to ensure that this happens.
UWI Open Campus Program Manager Monica Browne says the book will be an inspiration to many.
As a people, we would appreciate and embrace the deeds, philosophy, and indeed the spirit of Chatelier as we celebrate 40 years of independence, or as Dr. Fraser puts it, the recovery of our independence.
Professor of History of the St. Mary's College, USA, Dr. Gary Michael Denny, delivered a positive review of the book at last evening's ceremony, noting the in-depth history it trails. This is the 5th book written by Dr. Adrian Fraser. Reporting for SVG-TV News, Larissa Pugsley-Kidd.
EU's ambassador to Barbados and the OECS, Daniela Tamacre, recommends electronic data be made part of this country's health policy. Ambassador Tamacre was part of a high-level EU mission who paid a visit to the state yesterday to evaluate projects funded by the organization. The Bucament Polyclinic, which opened in April this year, is one of the projects funded by the EU. Minister of Health, Wellness and the Environment, Luke Browne, accompanied the EU delegation to a site visit and gave them a tour of the facility. The head nurse at the polyclinic outlined to the EU delegation the vast improvement of services they now offer to residents and those of surrounding communities. It was there that the EU ambassador suggested to the Minister of Health the need to invest more in electronic data. The EU delegation then moved on to the SVG Community College, another of its funded projects. Minister of Education Sinclair Jimmy Prince and the director of the SVG Community College, Nigel Scott, were on hand to provide information on the college operations to the EU team. The college was part of a major expansion project which was funded by the EU to the tune of 30 million EC dollars. Under the project, the lecture theatre, student union and teachers building were built, as well as renovation work done on the existing buildings at the college. Later funding was made available for the Food and Science Lab. Director General of the Directorate General for International Cooperation and Development of the EU, Stefano Mansavisa, asked about the standard of education offered at the college and about the challenges faced.
Whether it is in terms of work, salary, those sort of things, trying to resolve pension plan issues, I think those have been some of the very challenging issues.
But this is not within your range of decision making, no? This is a national thing. Some of them. Oh, really?
You have been managing or co-managing this. In terms of quality, you have seen a decrease, an increase, or continuation?
Quality of students?
Quality of teacher, quality of...
I've seen an improvement.
An improvement?
Yeah. I think we have continued to improve in the quality of the staff and the quality of the students as well. And that is evidenced by, for example, the number of national scholarships we have on an annual basis. We've gone from less than 20 to now over 40.
On their visit to the college, the EU delegation also met with students and lecturers. Their visit to SVG is part of a tour to several CARICOM countries to assess projects funded by the EU. Motorists and other road users who traverse the North Windward area can expect a more stable roadway in the London area at Sandy Bay in the coming weeks. This as the Building Roads and General Services Authority, BRAXA, commenced stabilization work in the London area. The roadway, which was damaged during the 2013 floods, was further eroded this week after heavy rains. Design work for a bridge which will be more suitable for the conditions in the area is said to be underway. However, in the meantime, engineering assistant at BRAXA, Dylan Morris, said they have to make temporary adjustments and fill-ins to ensure safety in the area for road users.
Currently we're doing some stabilization of the area, downstream and upstream of the bridge. We had to put in a steel and metal deck to add support to the current concrete structure that's there. The idea behind that is that the eastern northern side of the carriageway is severely scoured. So it's dangerous for vehicles to be crossing on it.
Yeah, that's right there because it looks like it's very thin. There's nothing under there.
It's more than 6 inches thick really with the concrete, reinforced concrete, but the base of it is severely scored.
So how safe is it and how long this can be like this?
Well, it's not safe to drive on that side, so that's why we're putting in the access of road access, so that the vehicles will keep on the western side crossing the bridge.
How long has this been happening for this deterioration in break of the road?
Well, it has started since 2013, if my memory serves me right. And every time it rains heavily, we have additional scouring and so on.
Water has been identified as the main reason for the damage to the bridge, and Morris said they are working to direct the water under the bridge. He said the entire exercise is expected to be completed in 6 weeks' time, with key areas to be completed this weekend.
But we have to do some river training upstream of the river to protect the river banks and for any possible overflow of the river.
So in the meantime, what advice would you give to motorists, even with those who probably have heavy vehicles and everything?
Well, it's safe for the heavy vehicles. It's safe for the heavy vehicles. It's just that we're going to stabilize and ensure safety first. So that heavy vehicles, the garbage truck passed here this morning, full with garbage from Fancy, because it wasn't able to come up since Tuesday. It's the first time after the rains on Tuesday that it has been able to pass. That's all.
And if it rains anytime soon, more than likely it would be impassable just the same?
Yeah.
Or would when you finish here, that shouldn't have a problem, right?
We're going to redirect the water, train the river so that the water will flow directly under the bridge.
Okay, thank you.
In other news, Flow SVG today launched its second customer experience center. The center is located in the Highway Trading Building in the Annesville area. Speaking at the opening ceremony, country manager of Flow SVG, Wayne Hull, said the new experience center, which will offer all of Flow's retail products and services, will be extremely convenient for customers' day-to-day service transactions, including easy access to the company's recently launched digital payment system.
This retail store cost us just over $250,000 EC dollars to retrofit the store and include the equipment, the payment kiosk. This location would also create an additional 5 jobs in our retail business, and it would also attract increased spending on things like security services, maintenance, cleaning and stuff like that, also increasing the amount of employment that the location would bring from this investment. We also want to focus on helping customers to use more of our kiosks, providing face-to-face customer support, technical support, and importantly, allowing customers to sign up for new services from Flow. We expect that this location will significantly reduce the foot traffic that we have at the Kingston location and overall reduce the in-store wait time that we have now in St. Vincent.
Executive Director of the SVG Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Anthony Regisford, said that he welcomes every new business or businesses that are expanding because expansion means growth, growth means jobs, and job means more prosperity.
Country Manager Hull, I sincerely congratulate you on this $250,000 retrofit expenditure that you had. That is some serious money. I hope that your ROI on that is favorable. I don't want to see you having to scratch your head 3 months down the road and wonder, you know, if it's a good investment. I really hope it's a good investment. I urge all the people who will be listening to this after the event, because I know the media is here, come out, check out the Flow location, support the effort, and make use of the convenience that is being offered. Thank you very much.
Director of the NTRC, Apollo Knight, commended Flow SVG on the new Annesville Retail Center. He said that it will not only be beneficial to customers, but the entire country.
Right, so I just want to commend you again, Mr. Hull, in adding this brick and mortar location and bring it to 5. And I know one of the reasons before, Because say we have a country of 110,000 people, and if you go to other islands of a similar size, like for example Grenada, I think they have two flow locations. Where it's one island, they have two, which is good. So persons in the north can go to Grenville and get service, but St. Vincent and Grenadines now with so many Grenadine islands, we have three, and one in Beckwith, one in Canada, one in Union Island before. So I know Mr. Hall, when he going for this funding, they will say, well, you already have 4 centers for 100,000 people. How can I justify adding another one? But you have to look at the context. So it's actually, you can say, it's only one for maybe 90,000. So a person who's coming from Fancy has to go all over to Tongue. Persons from Barley, Chatterley has to come all over the Tongue. It's very hard. So this is going to be a big change. I have a new center, and I want to commend you again on that.
The retail center was blessed by Superintendent of the Kingston Chatterley Circuit of the Methodist Church, Reverend Adolph Davis, while long-standing Flow customer Mrs. Dunny assisted Flow Country Manager Wayne Hull to officially cut the ribbon and open the Flow Experience Center.